Up your very first win, very first finish inside one championship. How good does that feel?
Oh, it feels great. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better finish. I wanted a knockout, but getting a submission just shows that I have a ground game too. And that's kind of what I wanted to show everybody tonight. And I think I did that.
One question I got to ask you: did Raymond throw up today?
No, he didn't. That's funny you say that. He told me afterward, he goes, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't eat breakfast this morning because I didn't want to throw up again. So he thought ahead of time.
To the media just joining us to ask questions to Colbey, please raise your hand on Zoom. And when we call your name and publication, you will then be unmuted. And then you can direct the questions to Colbey. We have our first question here from Matthew Lee of Tiebreaker Times. Matthew, please go ahead.
Congrats on the win, Colby. Just here, I just want to ask, what was your mindset heading into this bout, and how happy are you to finally get that second win?
I am super happy to get the second win. Obviously, circumstances are a little bit different this time with COVID. So the entire experience was something that I couldn't necessarily prepare for, between, flying to another country, having to be in quarantine, all the PCR tests, safety protocols all week, not even being able to leave your hotel room. Getting to be the very first fight of the night was awesome, but it was so pitch black and quiet out there. It was an experience that you can't necessarily describe to somebody unless they're actually out there doing it. So I'm super happy with how everything went. Obviously, I got the finish like I wanted. A knockout would have been great, but a submission was even better. So I'm very happy with how everything went down tonight.
Just to follow up to what you said, how different was that for you, having a closed event, no fans? How different was that?
It's crazy because the arena is so large. Getting to experience it last time with all the fans, you could feed off of their energy. It was just magnifying how great it was for my debut. This time, not only fighting in an empty arena of that size, being pitch black around you, being the very first fight, but also over here in Singapore, fighting bright and early at 8:30 in the morning. It was almost like I had to hype myself up and get myself amped because I couldn't feed off of the energy in the crowd because there wasn't any of that there. My corner was very vocal and very great at helping me, get energized and get going. But it was a surreal experience. And looking back on it now, I'm happy with the way everything turned out, obviously. So I wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to JacksonGarst of Phantom Sports Network. Jackson, you're up.
Hey, Colby, how you doing? Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Good. When we last talked, I said I hope you get that Colby, that Northcutt first round finish, and you delivered, no doubt. That was impressive. Can you just take me through a little bit what you saw when you were going into that submission?
Yeah, it was going back and watching the fight afterwards. I knew that she was going to be aggressive to come forward. That wasn't any kind of secret. I wish I, got to do a little bit more of my stand-up than what I did. She was great at coming straight forward, did that leg kick right off the bat, pushed me back to the cage. But I wasn't really too worried. I had been in that position a million times before. So I was very calm and very patient and waiting for her to create some openings and spaces and kind of make little mistakes for me to capitalize. And I could hear my coach's voice in my head. I could actually hear Uriah Faber's voice in my head from practice being in that position of telling me to be patient, wait, look for the openings, get the frames, work my way out of that situation, and everything worked out perfectly. I wish I could have used a little bit more of my striking and got some more highlights, but I'm very happy that it was a submission this time. Maybe people will start looking at me as not just a striker and more of a well-rounded martial artist. And maybe that may make some girls hesitant to want to take me down too, because I can finish them there also.
Well, submission highlights, definitely a highlight indeed. Now that this is past you, what would you like to see? Who would you like to see? And where do you go from this?
I mean, Courtney was a last minute change up. The first person I could think of on the top of my head was Savannah. I know that she's had 3 or 4 fights with one championship already. And she's definitely a contender in the flyweight division. We were scheduled to fight this time and she got injured. So I would love to fight her down the road if it's later this year sometime. I would really look forward to meeting her in the circle, and I believe that she would too.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. And of course, good luck on your next matches and a good fight.
Thank you.
Our next question goes to Jay Anderson of Cage Side Press. Please go ahead.
Thanks very much. And Colbey, congratulations on the win tonight. I want to build off that last question just a little. First of all, we've seen a number of Grand Prix in one championship. They've kind of become known for it. If they did one for a flyweight division, is that something you'd be interested in?
Absolutely. That would be a huge opportunity. And I know that one is building their flyweight division. So if they did open up a Grand Prix and build that, that would just bring a lot more women from other organizations into the league and into that division. So it's an amazing opportunity, and I would be crazy to say no to something like that.
And in the meantime, you mentioned potentially rebooking that fight with M later in the year. Do you have a time frame for when you'd want to fight again? Late summer, early fall?
Yeah, I was actually just talking about this with Sage after my fight. I gave him a FaceTime call and was talking with him for a few minutes. And I know that Shinya just called him out, and he was really looking forward to fighting Shinya this time. And he unfortunately got sick. So I would love to fight, if it is towards the end of the summer, whenever he's ready, to be on a card with him, because we were supposed to be fighting together this time. So whenever that timing is right, that's what I would like ultimately.
And last one for me, you did work with Team Alpha Male on the wrestling ahead of this. Is that the plan moving forward? Will you be spending some time there again?
Absolutely. Going back and forth between Training Lab and Alpha Male was the best decision I could have made this camp. The circumstances leading up to that decision weren't ideal because of COVID and lack of training partners. Training Lab is filled with killers. I mean, we have Coach Mark Munoz, who his name speaks for himself. We have the Bellator Bantamweight champ, Juan Archuleta, TJ Dillashaw, all these great athletes, but they're all getting ready for their own fights. So I was looking for training partners to help me with my camp and not necessarily take away from theirs. So Sage gave me a call and said, would you like to come up to Alpha Male? So I did go every other week for the duration of my camp up there from Sacramento to Orange County. And the amount I learned in that time was tremendous. So yes, moving forward for every future fight, I do plan on doing that again. Not because of COVID this time and lack of training partners, or because other training partners have fights, but because I genuinely enjoy the atmosphere, the environment, the knowledge. Uriah Faber was incredible to me and my husband while we were up there. And I do believe that that's the reason why I got this finish so quickly tonight.
All right, well, good stuff. Congrats again on the win tonight.
Thank you.
This next question goes to Hamad Mir of MMA Diagnosis.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Hi, Colbey. Congrats on the great victory.
Thank you.
You, your brother, your husband, you're all known as strikers.
Mhm.
How frustrating is it for you every time you fight, the opponent's bull rushing you and clinching with you as a striker?
That's a great question. It is a little frustrating, actually. But it's something that I know is inevitable and it's going to happen. So it's easy for me to prepare for. This time, it didn't necessarily go the way I had envisioned. I guess it was almost like being in the arena when it was dark and there was no audience, and it was so calm that I was almost too calm in the start, and I wasn't as ready as I feel like I should have been. So I was a little bit delayed with my reactions, and I let her get too close and push me back against the cage. Once that kind of got going, then everything started kicking in, and I remembered everything with training, and I was very patient with my reactions. But I wish I would have been able to use my striking a little bit better than what I did this time. I didn't even throw a single kick, which is what I love to do the most. But you know, it is a little bit frustrating, but it's nothing that I can necessarily control. Maybe I start getting some more submissions on the ground and it'll make girls a little bit more hesitant to want to take me down, and then we'll have to come up with something else. I don't know, but there's nothing I can do about that.
Do you feel like with this victory now that your opponents are going to be a bit more wary now with your submission game, your grappling game?
Maybe. I hope so. I got really long legs, so triangles and R bars are like all day for me. It's I love it. So and I'm very comfortable with my guard and being on my back. So if somebody takes me down, I'm on my back and I'm there, which is fine. And then wait till I reverse it and get on top, then you're really going to be in trouble. But you know, it's something that maybe it'll take a few more fights. I've only had 2 fights with the promotion. Maybe it'll take a few more fights, a few more wins for people to start really seeing me as, you know, even a grappler, or, you know, not just a striker. I think I started the stepping stone to that way tonight, but we'll see where it goes.
You mentioned training with Team Alpha Male now. Just wondering, who are your training partners for the wrestling, and what has Uriah kind of incorporated with mixing everything for you? Like, how big of a game changer was that for you?
It was great because they're not only all wrestlers up there, they're great at the chain wrestling, all the clinch work, the cage work, all the little transitions that I was missing, because I am a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and I have those fundamentals. But it was the little transitions and then the cage and the wrestling part that I was missing, I feel like, in my game. And that's where they kind of helped. To be honest, out of all my training partners there, Corey McKenna, she's only 21 and in the UFC. She's going to be a phenomenal, she's a contender already in the UFC, and she was phenomenal helping me this camp. She was somebody that I trained with the most and gave me the look that I needed. It was very helpful, and she's just a sweetheart. So she's somebody that really helped me. And then obviously Uriah himself poured a lot of time as well. Everybody up there has great energy and is so, they kind of check their egos at the door and is very open to helping others. So everybody was a great help.
Are we going to see a takedown in your next fight?
I wanted to do that this time. The opportunity did not present itself, but yes, you will see that my next fight.
One last question. Next fight, what are we hoping for? A knockout or a submission?
I would love a knockout. Everybody loves highlight reel knockouts. They get the most views. They're the most exciting. Submissions are great because they're super technical and you have to understand martial arts to be able to appreciate it, I feel like. But knockouts are what goes around the world. So I would love that.
Thank you for your time, and hope to see you and your brother making waves in one championship soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We got time for one more. Our next one will go to Darnell Giovanni of MMA Island. Darnell, please proceed.
Hi, Colby. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Do you see yourself as being the face of the flyweight division for ONE FC?
Not yet, but I hope to be. If I'm going to be very honest with you, I hope that I've said it before multiple times. I do want to be the very first women's flyweight MMA champ in one championship. They don't have a champion at this weight class. I do know that they're building the division. I believe that, you know, it may take however many fights it may take for me to get to that point. I believe that I could be there first. So right now, I'll tell you no, but in the future, I will say yes.
And last time I asked you about Raymond showing his ground game in his Bellator fight, and now you got to show your ground game in this ONE FC fight. What did he have to say to you after you won with this armbar?
He just said, I knew you could do it. I mean, we've worked so hard on our grappling and putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions. And when you're so good in striking and so good in one area, you're the best at, you feel like a total white belt going into something else. And it can be very, very frustrating, disheartening. You know, like Uriah was telling us in practice, sometimes you have to be the hammer and sometimes you have to be the nail. And in those kind of situations, you got to be the nail and you got to take some. But all of it paid off and it was great. I'm happy that he got to showcase, you know, get 4 takedowns his last fight. That's more than I've ever had in all of my fights combined, which is absolutely amazing for him. He's on a very, very fast track to having to kind of learn everything really rapidly, obviously because of his age. He's 41 today. So, you know, we're working really, really hard on it together, and I'm happy to be doing it with him.
And after giving him that amazing birthday gift, what's the birthday plans when you get back home?
I don't even know. We haven't actually thought that far because we've been so focused on our fights right now, each of us, that we haven't thought about anything of what comes after. It's his birthday today, and I didn't even get him anything because I've been so focused on myself, and he's been so focused on, you know, his fight, which was not even 2 weeks ago. So we got to come up with something when we get home.
Happy birthday to Raymond, and congrats on the win again, Colbey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, Colbey.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Appreciate it.
again, and enjoy this.
Thank
victory.
you. Thanks. Have a great day.
Have a great day. That was Colbey Northcutt.